Hello everyone, my name is Logan Luco of Noble Builds, and this is a video detailing the build process of this beautiful table and chairs and bench. So it all starts with this 2-inch oak that I found at my local lumber yard in Hastings, Nebraska. It just so happened that they had exactly what I needed to build the tabletop and all the chairs and the bench. So please enjoy the video. It is somewhat long, but it details every step in the process.
Here it is all laid out. We are wanting to keep kind of this rough live edge look. So we got a few spots of that on the outsides. Got a few cool little knots we'll have to fill in with some epoxy. Got these needle saw markings. Put a bow tie there, probably a second one right there just to keep that split and get any worse. So, it's about a 4x8 table, give or take a few inches one way or the other. Okay, so I had to rip some of these straight. Had some curves in them, and doing that left some saw marks in them. In order to get a nice good glue up, I'm going to run my hand plane across it, get it all nice and flat and smooth. So here's that process. Now you might be watching this and thinking, man, Logan, why wouldn't you be using a jointer? And I thought about it, and I actually contacted somebody who had one. He said I could use it, but I need to learn how to use this thing. Maybe not I need to, but I want to. It gives you an appreciation for how things were made 100 years ago. It was all by hand with these hand tools. The design really hasn't changed much at all. It's tried and true. And so, yes, a jointer would make things faster and easier. But I enjoy learning. I enjoy the challenge. And this is definitely a learning process. And it's fun. I mean, it's therapeutic. You got a nice sharp tool that works well. It's enjoyable.
Here's a quick update on the 2-inch oak tabletop. Currently, I'm working on the seams, making sure we are a perfect 90 degrees on each board, the entire length, the entire 8 feet for a good, perfect seam glue up. So the way I'm going about this is I'm taking my right angle guide here, placing it down on the board, making sure there are no air gaps. Any air gaps that there are, I'm taking the block plane, shaving the high areas down. After that, I butt the boards together. I squeeze them tight, which I'm not squeezed right now. And then I look for air gaps in here. And where there's gaps, I see where it's touching. So it was touching on this end, so I take it apart, shave that area down. Then once I've finished shaving down, I recheck square. I butt it all together again, squeeze it tight, and check the entire seam for any air gaps again. Repeat the process until we have a nice, snug fit.
Alright, so I just got done measuring, marking, drilling, and inserting all the dowels for the tabletop. I went every 2 feet using 3/8 inch dowels. I have all my sides perfectly square, perfectly flat. By the time we come to squeeze everything together, it should be a nice, smooth tabletop. Shouldn't take that much sanding to get it all done. So my client is wanting to keep kind of the rough edge here, that side, and over here. This one runs a little bit along the way down the edge, but can't have that. It splinters, it's ugly, can't finish that whatsoever. So I'm going to use one of my favorite tools, the draw knife, to clean this up. Alright, so here's what I'm thinking for my clamps. I got 1.5" square tube, 3/16 inch wall. It's real heavy duty stuff. I'm not going to have much flex in it at all, especially at a 4-foot length. That's what I'm cutting these at. So I'll have one piece on the bottom, one piece on the top. I'll be able to squeeze down. That'll give me good pressure that way, keep all my boards on the same level, and then I'll rig up some pressure bolts on the side to where I can squeeze the boards in on each side. So I will not only have downward pressure, but I'll have sideways pressure. I think it's going to work out pretty well.
So I did decide to build my own clamps as opposed to buying new ones, simply because I was going to save a lot of money doing it this way.
Alright, today is glue up day. Here's my clamps that I made. Let me show you how they work. So all it consists of are those tubes that I showed you earlier. And so then the bolts come down from the top. That gives you a squeeze from the top and bottom. The other end is just one bolt through the pipe. Got a shim in there to protect the wood. And then I've got one of these pieces here. It's kind of hard to see, but you slide that in, and then these bolts act as a stop. And that is what's providing the sideways pressure on the board. So we're able to get nice, good, tight seams while keeping it all in the same plane, avoiding any bowing or anything like that. So, I think we're good to go. I'm gonna disassemble everything now, glue everything up, and clamp it all down. That corner over there, that was trouble. Let's go walk over there and just see. So it's hard to get a good square clamp on it because it angles off there and it's got a bevel here, so I couldn't get any pressure on it. And this side also has a bevel that I can't get any good pressure. So what I ended up doing was shoving all these shims in here, and I know it looks not ideal, but it's putting pretty good squeeze on everything. So
And so here what I'm doing is I am making some bow ties, cleaning up the edges so they're perfectly straight, perfectly square. A bow tie, for those of you who don't know, is a piece of wood that looks like a bow tie. They can be known as butterflies also, that you use to hold cracks together in the wood. So what you'll see me do is I'll route out a void within the crack, and then I'll glue this bow tie in there, and that keeps the crack from splitting over time. On this table, I actually ended up having 4 separate bow ties to do, 3 on the end that I'm at now and 1 on the other end. And so as this is wrapping up, we'll be jumping on to the table legs next.
All right, everybody, we got the table legs all set up, ready to weld. This is 1/2 inch thick steel, 8 inches total width. We have about a 29.5 inch diameter of the circle, but that is not a full 29.5 inch height. It's about 28, since it is only a portion of that circle. We are 10 inches from edge to inside edge, 4-inch gap in the middle, 10 inch from edge to outside edge for total width of 24 inches. Total height of around 28 with the, well, it'd be a little bit more than that with the 2/2 inch on each side, but for total table height of 30 inches with the 2-inch thick oak top. On the inside, we have, kind of hard to see, but one of these pieces, matching radiuses, matching radius, and now welding them real nice and tight with a spot for a wood beam to tie it all together. Some more curves to kind of blend it all in together. So, get some inside there. So I'm gonna get it all welded up, and then we'll see how she looks.
Right, so these legs are by far my favorite part of the entire build. I think the design is very unique and they turned out very well. They are extremely heavy, each one weighing about 140 pounds, being 1/2 inch steel, 8 inches wide. But very sturdy, very solid, very happy with how they turned out.
Okay, so I got them welded up. I've been working on getting these welds smoothed out. So what I'm doing is I'm turning the weld where they're butted together, smoothing it out, a little bit of a radius on it, make that look real nice. So, here we go. All right, we got them ground down smooth. Here's how they're looking. Pretty good. But I don't want this shiny, bright steel. I want it to be dark. I want it to match all this. So I'm going to chemically stain it. This is Presto Black Gel. So let's see how this works.
Let's see. Yeah, that's nice.
And when we're done with all that, cleaning it off, left with a finished product that blends in very nicely with all the steel. As you can see, it's much darker. It's hard to see in here because the lighting is so bright with the snow outside, and the exposure is pretty terrible, but at least you get the idea.
Hey, buddy. Sweet, man.
Alright, got the reclaimed beam in. All that's left to do is to do some touch-up sanding, especially on these faces here, make those look nice and presentable. Drill a mortise, and have a walnut wedge that'll tie that all together. Here's some of this texture on this beam. It's going to look really nice. Lightly sanded, just to highlight some of the character of it, and put the stain on it, seal it up. So she's coming together. I think tomorrow we might be able to wrap things up. So we have our tenon on the reclaimed wood beam that will be going into the steel mortise. Within that tenon there is a separate angled mortise for this walnut wedge that will then go inside. Hold everything together. The hole on the inside is angled, so it is getting pressure on both sides, locking everything in place, and it gives a nice visual appearance.
All right, so here's a look at the legs, the connecting beam. It's all connected. Went with 8 lag bolts, and it is sturdy. And that's good. Went with some walnut wedges on the beam here. So being upside down, this is the top side here that we're looking at. Let me pop it out for you. Here's what they look like. Nice good curves to them. I think it's going to really pop once we get a finish on it.
Alright, and so this is all the wood left over. This is going to be the seats for the 9 chairs, 2 stools, and 1 bench.
Alright, now you'll have to forgive me. I don't have as much video of the chairs being built as I would have liked. I it just slipped my mind. I was getting into a groove and just getting things done and just forgot to record it. So there is a little bit coming up here that you'll see, but for the most part, this process is skipped entirely.
Okay, so it is currently 11:40 in the evening. Got most everything done on the chairs. Haven't recorded any of it because I just wanted to get it knocked out and get it done with. But I did want to show you one portion of what I'm doing. I'm putting the bottom foot rail on the chair frame. So what I have is I have this little setup to where the chair will slide into it. These are all the same height to put the rail on, and then I will heat it and bend it.
So here what you'll see me do is I'm popping the grain. Now what popping the grain is, as you can see, I'm spraying the wood down with a fine mist. What that does is that mist allows the fibers of the wood to stand up on end, so that when you come back and sand it again, you keep knocking more and more of those fibers down, giving you a much nicer, smoother finish. And then of course sanding, lots and lots of sanding. Hit everything with 80 grit on the belt sander first, then ran up through the grits on the orbital sander of 80, 120, 150, 180, 220. So really happy with how the finish turned out. Alright, so for the stain, we decided to go with a red mahogany penetrating stain. It was the color that best matched the cabinets that they had in their kitchen already. Really happy with how it turned out. The color was really rich and deep and beautiful, and then stained all the seats and the chair backings the same color to make sure everything matched. And for the protective finish, we went with a wipe-on polyurethane clear satin. I think I did 4 heavy coats with light sandings in between.
This is a dang good feeling. Finally putting this finish on top. Dang good feeling.
And here it is in the house. In total, there were 6 table chairs, the 1 bench, and then there were 3 bar height chairs and 2 bar height stools. So this was easily the biggest project I've done to date. Very happy with how it turned out. The clients love it. I'm just thankful for the opportunity that they gave me to build it for them. Hopefully this lasts for generations within their family and they can pass it down to their children. So thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. If you would consider liking and sharing this video, I would greatly appreciate it. So I'll jump out here now and let you finish watching the video. I do have pictures at the end. And if you like what you see here and you would like me to build you your own dining table, coffee table, or even a conference table, feel free to send me a message. I'd be more than happy to help make your vision become a reality. Thank you all again very much.